that's gone.
We're live now.
You're officially live. All right.
There we go.
Okay, so what did you guys think of the reading? We'll start with that, other than it being long.
Oh, you noticed that too?
just like 22 pages.
I thought this was the driest week yet.
And I think
that
last week was
took
pretty hard to top.
Yeah.
that took a lot of shoveling to get through this one.
Yeah, and the first thing that they want us to talk about is actually the last paragraph. It's not even about anything else. It's like talking about this Stepan, I don't know how you say his name. So
Yeah.
the one who was like bringing all the issues, like, and they want to fire him. If you were walking into that meeting, would you be for firing him or for a different course of action?
I was thinking maybe he could be put on probation instead of firing, so that he knows it's more serious, that action, he needs to know what actions he's doing, and then there needs to be consequences, and they need to enforce the consequences, but maybe start with that instead of firing him first.
Why would you like not jump straight to firing him?
I guess because I'm too nice. And
well, because like that guy was like, oh, it's his third offense, like he needs to be fired, but
well, just because they didn't seem that organized on safety before, maybe he needs to have some ground rules laid out for him with consequences so he takes it more seriously. And maybe they just give him a certain amount, like if you have one more accident because of neglect, then you're out of here, and just give him like one more chance.
Did they warn him that if this happened, something, you know, I mean, I know they had told him, it said we had, I think it made it very clear that safety violations won't be tolerated. You know, they told him of the problems, but they didn't, I don't believe they told him that he was at risk of being fired. And I think it's fair to let somebody know, hey, that's a possibility here unless you're able to improve.
Yeah.
So I agree with you. If they had told him officially strike one, strike two, strike three could result in termination, then that would be fair. But I agree that with Laura that he should be on probation and told a further violations would result in being fired.
In writing.
Yes,
Yeah,
in writing.
For sure.
Much more fair.
Okay. What do you think it's his fault that the guy got injured?
Well, you guys go ahead and talk, and since the guy's an electrician, I'll tell you what my thoughts are when you're all done.
I mean, it's his fault to a degree if he's not enforcing any safety measures. But sometimes the employees do what they want to do. They just think, oh, I can do this. I can, you know, nobody's watching. I'll just do it the way I want to do it. It's faster. So it's maybe kind of a combo of both.
It seemed like it was the employee. It was an accident fully for the employee, though. It says he slipped, and that led to the injury. So I don't know. Did I miss something where it said the employee was supposed to do something else?
No, I'm pretty sure I just talked about how like he sent the guy to to the area, and so he just sent him there to replace it, and it didn't say that the employee had anything to do with, like, he didn't complain or anything or say I shouldn't be doing this. He just went and did it, but he did what Stepan told him to. That's what they're asking. Is it his fault for telling him to do that, or is it the employee's fault for not realizing that there were safety measures that should have been taken?
What do you think, Sarah?
I think it's always hard because when you're in charge, things land on you even if they're not really your fault.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you're responsible for making sure the employees know all the measures and are doing what they're supposed to, even if they don't know they're supposed to be doing it. So, yeah, kind of. Yeah, just because he's got that role, he's kind of at fault.
Yeah. All right, Scott.
Yeah, let's hear what the
Hear it.
the supervisor absolutely should be written up. He shouldn't be fired yet based on what I'm reading because he doesn't have any written warnings with consequences explained. The electrician should also be written up with a warning because he is a technical expert. And it says right here, the repair required Olson to work way too close to the pot line in a congested area. The electrician is deemed an expert in his field, in the trade. He cannot rely on a supervisor. No technical expert can allow a supervisor, anybody, to demand they do something that is unsafe or incorrect. And I don't care what state you're in, you're going to lose that argument. That electrician is fully at fault for doing something in a dangerous condition that he shouldn't have been doing without taking proper safety steps to get help or to get it put in a safe mode for him to do the work that he was being asked to do. And if the supervisor threatened him over that, the electrician is going to win any arbitration, any lawsuit, or anything else. That supervisor is going to lose big time if that electrician refuses to work because it's unsafe. So he should not have done it. He should not have done it, and he needs to be reprimanded and written up just as equally for a different reason than the supervisor.
It sounds like Christina's trying to call in. I don't know.
Yeah.
If
Yeah, I'm sending her an invite. All right, I sent her a new one to hear.
Oh, okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Okay, so he should be written up and not fired. Okay.
I don't think either one should be fired. I think they both need to be written up with warnings of they do it again and they're going to be fired.
So
even the guy that was hurt.
yeah. Well, if they wanted, would firing him send a message, or would it just seem?
Well, the problem that I see with firing is they can't justify it because they may have warned him before, but there's no evidence that they're presenting that it was a written warning. They just said they warned him. Maybe we can assume it's a written warning. And if that's the case, yes, he should be fired. And I would be happy to do it. I just like this. I've laid guys off, and I frankly don't care what their circumstances are. When they violate something this egregious, you're gone.
Mm-hmm.
Get out of my office, get out of my shop, get off the job, get out of the company.
Yeah. If they did fire him, do you think the employee would have respect for management for like enforcing the safety rules, or do you think it would just cause more problems? Do you think it would just not send a message?
I think firing the
what
employee
message.
would be a pretty rough. Like firing the employee that got injured might send a bad message to other employees. Like if you get hurt, we'll punish you. But firing the manager, I think would show that they're being very serious on injuries, or I guess on safety.
You know, we had a employee. I work for a plumbing company. We had an employee get in a car accident. He pulled out and got hit by a semi, and his truck flipped. And it was totally his fault. He wasn't being patient like he was, and boss is very, very good at in their meetings every day. He doesn't say it every day, but he brings it up every so often. Safety, be more cautious than you need to be, especially because they drive so much, because we're service plumbers, so they drive all day long in between people's houses. And this wasn't his first incident within a short period of time of just not being cautious of what he was doing, not taking his time, just slow down a little bit. And so this was the last straw. And, it sent a message to the rest of the guys. Just, you got to be careful. For your sake, for our sake, the whole company just needs to slow down and think about safety before, these things happen. So it all depends on, what's going on. But yeah, he had multiple things, but this was that's the end.
I think in this case, though, the electrician cannot be fired because he's been injured. I think you'd end up in a lawsuit, even if it was totally his fault. I still think he needs to be reprimanded and written up for what he did, but you'd never get away with firing him. The supervisor, however, yeah, you could.
Mhm. Okay, so the next part of this is kind of confusing because it wants us to break into groups.
Yeah, I read that in the email.
We're all on a group meeting, so I'm like, I'm not really sure, so I figure we can just go over all of them together and like figure it out.
Well, I think that would work in groups if we were at school where we could walk away from a table and sit in a corner, but
Yeah,
a little difficult here.
yeah, everyone's trying to talk to like one other person in their group.
That would be chaotic.
Okay, so the first thing it wants us to go over is figuring out in exhibits 3 and 7 in the reading. It talks about when does safety improve and when does productivity decrease. And like to find that, it's supposed to like you have to like do some math. It says divide the total hours number for each period by the works total. And the smaller the number, the more productive the plant is. And then it wants you just to compare the safety ones. So let's see.
In case you're curious, you're filling out OSHA forms right now as you do this.
Ah.
Oh,
You don't realize it, but that calculation has to do with what every company that's got employees does at the end of the year. And on our side, anybody in construction, at least in California, we have to report these things to get pre-qualified to work for different entities or for other contractors. And a lot of times, if your rates are too high, you just can't get a job.
Oh, really?
Yep.
I used to work at a preschool, and every time OSHA would come in, we had this like deep cleaning. We had to clean everything top to bottom. It had to be spotless, and it was just insane.
Mm.
Yeah, what used to happen years ago is guys that owned companies that had bad rates on these things would close their company and open up a new to get brand new rates for a new company. And the insurance companies figured that out pretty quick. So now the rates follow the owners and the management.
Oh,
So you close your company down and open up again, or if you're a manager in another company, that rate pops up again for your company.
Oh, interesting. So you could be hard to hire.
Well, you can't get away from it as an owner or a corporation. You can't close your business, say with a contractor's license, and then reopen with another one. It follows you.
Which exhibit did you say we were looking at again?
no, exhibit 3.
3.
So yeah,
7.
yeah. Start with 3, and then we're going to compare it to 7. But I mean, the main idea that it wants you like to figure out is like how it gets smaller as the years go on. Like the number of like the productivity gets better. Sorry, as the years go. That's what I meant to say.
So did you say you divide the number of hours by the injuries? Is that what you said?
It says divide the total hours number for each period by the works total. So it would like for 1987 it'd be 7,400 divided by 185.4.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah. And so like the smaller the number, the better the productivity is. The more effective the plan is.
Gotcha.
Almost done.
Like, this is human resources. Why are we having to do that?
Yeah, I thought I finished my accounting class.
Right?
Because you're going to be reporting these things to people who are going to need this information, because human resources is the one that keeps this information on injuries and everything.
Mhm.
And so, like in our company, when I need this information, I have to go to, in our case, it's our controller, but she keeps all the injury information and has it in her files. So when I go to fill out pre-qualifications with different entities, I have to go get these specific forms that have this information on it on a yearly basis, and we have to show it for the past 3 years what our rates are. And for example, the company that I'm with, just 3 years ago, it finally had a rate that dropped, injury rate that dropped into an acceptable area. And before that, they weren't allowed to bid work, and it was a reason because a guy on a job up in San Francisco walked off a 6th floor of a building.
Whoa.
Oh,
He lived, and it turned out that he walked off the floor because he was trying to kill himself.
Oh gosh.
But that didn't matter. It still counted against the company.
That's because he was on company hours.
how do you guard against that?
Yeah.
Like, how do you prevent? Oh man,
Here in
Don't,
California, you don't. You just live with it.
you just pay the bills. Yeah.
You pay the bills. I'm in another involved from a former company from 2010 when I laid off somebody and they're suing the company, and they've got a whole bunch of reasons, but mainly we laid him off because of his safety record. And he had a number. He had a company truck for a while. He had a lot of driver's alerts. We had that big sticker on the back that says, report the driving. And he had a number of those. And then he lost a ladder off the truck and it couldn't be found. Never knew where it happened to it. Had one owner from a college district say, "Don't ever send him to our jobs again." And he's suing the company for laying him off for age discrimination.
Oh, jeez.
So it's real fun to sit in court and have an attorney on the other side take everything that I've said and done and paint me to be a monster, which he tried. I don't think he was very successful. The first trial ended up in a hung jury of 8. They couldn't figure out who was more dastardly, him or me and my boss. So
that's a
I mean, I
trick.
felt sorry for the guy, but he was low on the totem pole and we had a work reduction and he went.
Okay, so for the numbers that you guys found, is there like a certain like trend that you guys see? Like if we take these numbers and compare it to Exhibit 7, like the number of safety violations that they've had, do you think there's some correlation? In Exhibit 7 from 1987 to 1991, like are injuries going up or are they going down?
Well, they're going down in most of the fields.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fabrication, not so much.
Mm-hmm.
And the ingot, it's kind of like goes up and then down.
Yeah.
There's not really a huge variation.
Yeah.
That's,
So is when the plants have less injuries, are they more or less productive is what they're trying to get at by like making it
definitely more productive.
More productive.
An injury stops the whole plant. Definitely more productive.
Yeah.
Well, also they're more productive because they have they're not having to
Maybe.
people.
Maybe. I don't, in my experience, I don't see that injuries are necessarily tied to productivity, but I don't know what all their figures are. There might be a correlation, but I don't know if there's a strong causation between the two.
It might depend on the kind of company too.
There's a lot more factors that are going into that, but a lot of times these are the only numbers you have to play with, and these are the ones that people look at. So I guess this is what we should be looking at, and what you'd be looking at in the HR field and have to report to people, because this is what other companies, insurance companies, are going to look at, is these types of numbers. And if you're above a certain threshold, it's kind of like, no ticky, no laundry. You're not going to get a job. They won't even let you bid. So, safety issues are because they're so expensive. It really is, in my view, worthwhile to make sure that you do some proper measures. But that's a side political argument, I guess.
Yeah.
And preemptive cautions like beforehand makes a whole lot of. Oh yeah, it helps.
Well, it's really interesting in the kind of field that we're in. When I first started and I was doing residential work, I used to wear running, sneakers, tennis shoes, shorts, that kind of stuff. And, the first time I had to start wearing a hard hat, it was just like really, cumbersome. I'm very used to it now. And I think over time, people object to safety measures at first, and it really doesn't take all that long to get used to it. And it's just, you kind of learn to deal with it. And I don't think it really hurts productivity at the end of the day.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if it's like just productivity, but it also says it wants us to look at Exhibit 5 and the types of injuries that happens. So like when the plants get more productive and they have less injuries, they want us to look at like the biggest thing that I see is the total serious injuries goes way down.
Mm-hmm.
Based on, the
well, they certainly started taking more precautions and doing things to be safer.
Mhm.
And
There's a huge improvement in that span of time there.
Yeah. I think that's why it improves productivity. Because
have any of,
go down.
I'll give you an example. Have any of you seen, what a skill saw is? A circular saw, portable circular saw?
Yeah.
My husband cut his thumb off with one.
Okay. And you know how they have on the bottom side underneath, there's a guard that covers the blade? All right. There was a time, and you can't do it now, you get fired, but where all the carpenters would tie that guard back. So the blade was always exposed. Very common. Very common. And I actually distinctly remember the time when in California that became a Cal OSHA violation to tie that guard back. And the wailing and moaning and groaning of carpenters having to do that was, oh man, the hue and cry, it went up far and wide. And it took a few years, and I don't think there was any demonstrable change in productivity, but there was a lot less leg cuts. After that.
That's good.
Yeah. Well, that kind of like leads to things like in the study they talked about when they changed Mission Valley changed their regulations on like the forklift speed and like for wedding. Like when they were having all those issues and all the employees just kept crying about them. Like what's one way that you would motivate your workers to follow that so they could be safer? Like is there a way other than like forcing it? Like what would you think would motivate them?
You're talking about the speed limit issue?
Yeah, the speed limit, and then the same thing with like the wedding ring. Like they couldn't wear when the smelters, whatever they are, they couldn't wear their wedding ring because it would conduct electricity. So
Seems fair.
That's actually a rule for electricians. We don't wear metal watches and rings. We're not allowed to wear them.
yeah,
So
Conducts electricity.
well, the thing is that a ring will, it's actually not the conductive part of it. as much as the catch factor on it.
Yeah.
That things can get hung up on a ring and pull your hand in or rip a finger off. And the same thing with a watch; it can get hung up on something, and you can't get your arm or hand out. So, you know, I'd say that the argument of I can't wear it for, you know, I have to wear it for religious purposes or whatever it is. You know, it's just not going to wash. Those things are not going to override safety. They never will. Of course, you know. Okay, I'm going to say this. I don't know if you're somebody who wears a turban or a hijab, if you're going to get away with it in a job where normally I wouldn't be allowed to wear something loose-fitting clothing because it get caught in the machinery. That's going to be a tough one. I don't know how those are going to play out.
Yeah.
Look, you can keep your religion when you're alive, or you can keep it when you're dead. You have a couple options.
Yeah, I feel like when it comes to safety, you can't compromise safety for religious reasons. I mean, even within the church, I could think of a few things that might be difficult. You know, things we wear, even like you said, wedding rings, that I would be willing to let go of. For this, Heavenly Father understands.
Well, you know, it's interesting, and now you brought that up, is that when our crews now go to work in San Diego Gas and Electric, we're in San Diego, power plants, all their clothing has to be 100% cotton with an FRP rating, flash rating, because synthetics have a tendency to burn and to melt onto your skin in arc flashes. So, and that includes your undergarments. Everything's supposed to be 100% cotton.
Yeah. So yeah, I feel like that would be
the thing is, I don't know of anybody yet that's checking anybody's underwear, but they do look at the shirts our guys wear, and they're starting to look at the pants they wear. We've actually started the conversation of possibly having a uniform company provide the guys with the stuff, because it has to be certain ratings and so on and so forth. Yeah, it's expensive and it's cumbersome. We'll just have to include it in our bid and pricing structure. But you know, that's the nature of you know, somebody's made a qualified judgment that's worth the price to pay for not being injured. And I guess if you're the one that doesn't get injured, that's definitely worth the price.
How do you motivate your workers to follow those kinds of rules? Like get them to use the speed limit, or you know, wear the right clothing. How do you motivate them to do that?
At my husband's company, like he has bus patrol right now, and so he has a company car, and they actually have a tracking system on his car. And there's been times where, like whenever he first started, they came in and they were like, you know, this person, this number so and so was just speeding down the highway. They were over the speed limit like a certain time. And he was like, oh, well, I think that was actually me. And so he's actually, I mean, it's annoyed for him because he's trying to like get to places really quickly, but he's actually slowed down a lot just because he knows that they're watching.
We have those on our company vehicles, and as we've done that, we've made it clear to the guys that are service techs that, you know, it's being monitored and that you will not get in trouble. It's okay. In fact, if you're on the freeway and everybody else is exceeding the freeway, get off the freeway and drive a side street to your next job, and just let us know. And there will be no repercussions for it. We're more interested in you getting from place to place safely at the right speed limit than the 10 minutes or 5 minutes you get there faster, which is usually it's less than 5 minutes is the difference by doing that kind of stuff. And most often it's not even more than a minute or two.
Yeah. We do the same thing. And as long as they don't go over a certain speed, then it's not a problem. But we'd rather them take longer to get somewhere.
What do you do though if they do go over that speed, like consistently?
They have to sign up. We actually print them out every day because we kind of track where they've been during the day. Mm-hmm. And they sign off that they haven't gone over that speed. I mean, they know that it's being reviewed all the time. And at the beginning when we were having problems with it, that's why we started tracking. And the guys, now that they are aware and that they're taking responsibility for it, we haven't had an issue again.
Yeah, if yours is like ours, there's an automatic notice as soon as whatever parameters you set are
Yeah.
exceeded or violated, and so an email goes to our company owner and the person that takes care of all the vehicles. So I mean, it's literally within seconds if they've done something, they know about it. And the first time is an oral warning, verbal if you will, but it's cataloged. The second time is a written warning that if it happens again, they're going to lose their position, because our service guys are all paid foreman's wages because they work to earn that, and they're going to go back to journeyman, and they're going to be taken out of service and put on construction jobs. Most of them don't want to do that. They like being in service where they make more money and have a little bit freer, opportunity to work.
Yeah.
They basically use the Big Brother method and fear.
That's correct. And
You know what? Even the church does it. On your mission, when you have a card, there's this little thing called Tiwi.
Oh, I know about Tiwi.
Yeah. Get in your card, let them know you're driving, you have your own card. And then
Yeah, you sign in.
the speed limit, it goes, lower your speed. It just yells at you until you do. And it sends like messages to the church saying, this person is increasing their speed consistently and by this much. And if it's too much, they'll take away your driving privileges.
Really?
yeah, our guys are tracked. Our guys are tracked for hard cornering, hard braking, excessive jackrabbit starting,
Yep.
sitting with the engine running.
Wow, that's
Idling. Yeah, I mean,
Well,
it's starting to get really. You can't idle the car in the AC.
When it's somebody else's car, though, imagine if you owned cars and you were letting people use them, you have those rules.
Yep.
If they were my
And
cars,
then-
that's my rules.
Yeah, and then any activity on outside of normal work hours is immediately, anytime that vehicle's started up or moved outside of our regular work hours, a notice is sent to our ops manager, who is aware of who is working service, because if we get an emergency call, he and the superintendent always get a email if one of the service guys has a job that he has to go to, so they're aware who might be driving the vehicle for what purpose. We've had guys using the company vehicles on the weekend, to haul kids to soccer games and go camping and everything else.
Real quick, when I was on my mission one time, our car, and it was not our fault that it got we had a sticker, our car got towed, and we had a Tiwi from our parking lot, and it got towed to another location, and we got a call in the morning asking why were we driving our car at 3 a.m. from the mission office. We're like, we did not drive our car, but it got towed, and the GPS picked up that it was moving.
wow.
Had to talk
Nice.
our way out of that one.
Crazy missionaries indeed.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so but like in the culture for this company, they say you want to get cuts and scrapes and bruises, and you want to be tough, and that's just the culture. So how do you? Well, I guess like how did Mission Valley, how did they work to change that culture? Like what did they how would you change that? Because that's their mindset.
You have to get the supervisors to buy in, and to let the guys know, and guys, gals, whoever, let the employees know that reporting injuries is not going to be punished, but that they, just as a matter of course, need to know about everything, to catalog it, to make sure that the employees get properly treated for anything that happens, because they really do want them to stay safe and healthy.
Yeah,
It takes a while for that to catch on.
I work for a small company. We have 15 employees. And yeah, the same thing. We want them to tell us because we want to be able to take care of it. So no one that's come and reported an injury has had, anything negative happen. There hasn't been an injury that, has to be negative, but we've been taking care of it for them.
Yeah, we actually will write them up if they don't report it.
Yeah.
Anything, because every one of our guys has a cell phone. We have a safety consultant, and the safety consultant has 2 numbers that are 24 hours a day that they can call. It's on speed dial on all their phones. and the safety consultant's on call. Our office has a 24-hour number they can call. And if they don't report it, we actually write them up.
We make a big part of our training too, so that it's an everyday, like, you know, it's just brought up and talked about in just easy ways, just to make it so it's
Yeah,
always.
we've taken the responsibility of them trying to decide whether or not it's a reportable or recordable injury to just have them report everything. And then somebody that's qualified will make the decision as to what has to happen next. So anything that happens, they just pull their phone out and call, hey, I had this happen. Does something need to happen? And they'll be told right then, yeah, just field treat it and send us a report on it, and it's all good.
Yeah.
When I worked in an office at a technology center, it was like a little school here, there was one lady that she had gone and done safety training, and she had to report paper cuts. And it drove us crazy. We're like, okay, that's a little bit ridiculous.
Oh gosh, it's a little too in depth, don't you think?
Yeah, but she was like,
I don't know. You know what? I've had paper cuts, and they hurt worse than a lot of it. I've had broken bones,
Yeah,
and I've had paper cuts that are worse.
Yeah, but the paper cut's not a lasting injury.
we did a lot of filing. And
If it causes body fluids to be exposed and come out, you can get infections from anything.
Oh goodness, what are we in a third world?
You've been around little kids and all the stuff that they carry. Yeah.
Well, okay, so Mission Valley took like a lot of, precautions to change this, and they have the fewest serious injuries compared to other companies. Like, what are some things that they've done that helped them to earn that, to have so few injuries?
Well, looking at Exhibit 7, they had the inadequate guardrails. I'm looking at the total serious injuries, inadequate guardrails. Now they have 0 injuries regarding in August, 0 injuries regarding inadequate guardrails, and inadequate warnings 0, and hazardous attire 0. So they nipped that in the butt pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they did things like, oh, go on. No, I was gonna say they paint their trucks every 6 months. Sorry.
Yeah.
They painted their trucks every 6 months to make them more visible.
Okay.
And they just did some general maintenance things that helped clear congested areas, and
Josh, let's do yeah. I remember, I worked in a bakery at one point in time, and our bakery was connected to the deli. They were just on both sides, and there'd be times where the deli people came over and they had grease on their shoes, and they'd end up walking over to the bakery side to I don't know, because they were borrowing some let's just say I don't know, trash bags or something, and they'd leave grease spots, and so we'd have to make them come back over and use their degreaser to actually clean those up. So it was also like you're talking about, just making sure that things were just kind of cleaned up. We did a lot of that, and I'm pretty sure that helped.
Wait a minute. You worked in a bakery?
Yeah, I worked in the bakery at a Walmart.
Did you get paid to loaf?
I got paid to make cake. I did not.
My mom is the queen of puns. I will tell her that one.
Oh, come on. You guys have heard that. Haven't you heard the bit with I'll send it all to you. It's from back in the 40s.
I worked in a bakery.
You know the guys that did Who's on First?
Yeah,
Abbott and Costello. They do a bit about working in a bakery. You look it up and you'll see. Because the one guy's talking about being a union protected loafer. It's classic. It's pretty funny.
A lot of stuff they have is funny.
Okay, so they implemented all this. Linda has a new plan for what are some things going through her plan? What are the things that are going to help the company get to its goal? I'm trying to find the plan on here.
Pitch, no pension.
Where'd it go? So it should be, it's a, like Exhibit 10 has some of like her work plan safety on there, and Exhibit 11, things like that. So it's asking which ones, like in her plan, which items will help the company get to its goal of, you know, I think it's like 1.8 injuries or something like that, or something really low.
The training, just a matter of training people.
Yeah.
Just so they recognize what precautions they need to have and why those precautions are there.
I think they really have to pursue the idea that violations have consequences. And most often people don't get fired for things, but they do get suspended for a time or written up or have pay raises put back. And the reporting has to be not punished, but violations have to have consequences.
Mm-hmm. So are there any on Exhibit 11, the summary of the plans, is there any on there that won't be helpful? That will just kind of be more of a nuisance than anything?
I'm wondering about this awards dinner. I mean, it sounds fun, but you think that would work?
Yeah, for me, it wouldn't.
I guess if you're giving away some good stuff, it might work.
If there's like a points program so that, yeah, they can earn stuff, that might.
A lot of times, some kind of a rewards program that's individual as well as by group can have a pretty significant impact.
Yeah.
As people get deeper into a time period. And I think a recognition program, I don't know about a banquet, but you know, if money is always a good thing.
My brother-in-law was the safety manager. He did all the OSHA training and everything at a plant that he worked at for a while. And one of the things he did, well, they tracked how many days without an injury. And so he would give them a goal, if you could get, I don't know, 100 days with no injuries, we'll do it. I'll bring a steak dinner. And so they would bring a barbecue and he would provide all the steaks and they would have dinner for his shift. And the guys loved it.
Yeah.
So that was something that really worked.
Yeah, I could see that working.
Do you think that it would be good to make it both individual and group? Like, because if you have a group, then you have to like make sure your other employees are, you know, doing what they're supposed to. Do you think that would help? Like knowing that they're being depended on? Just like in one of the readings, it was talking about how people act better when they know somebody's watching. So it's like if it was the group one and you knew other people were depending on you, would you be more likely to follow the rules?
I think so. It's kind of like a team effort.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But the individual would get that competitive thing going.
Mm-hmm.
So I think either one could work.
Yeah. And what? Huh? Go ahead.
Well, I'm thinking like maybe for the areas that are like particular areas that are struggling with safety, maybe in those areas you can do individuals, but areas or so that of the company that aren't struggling, maybe you could just do more of like a team thing.
Probably depends on what kind of company you're working for too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So like for this type of company, would it be better to be individual or group?
I'd probably say group.
Yeah, I would tend to think group. And I think group would be good because a lot of times the bigger the organization, there's going to be little things that happen. It's pretty hard to get to 100% injury free. It can be done, but it's pretty difficult. So, you know, and it doesn't necessarily have to be like only one award. It can be at several levels. Improvement from last time, maintenance of a certain level.
There can be multiple groups too.
Yeah, there can be several ways to earn recognition and a you know, a doggy biscuit. for doing well.
Yeah. You were thinking like there's like the different award ones. You're thinking improvement. What else besides just like?
Well, if somebody's got a good record, the fact that they maintain it is sometimes just as difficult as getting better. You know, recognition for people that find things that need to be fixed.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a big thing in factories are things that are like pinch points and, you know, stuff that where slips and falls can happen. So, you know, a reporting system that makes sure that there is an issue, you know, the speediness that things are reported and cleaned up and straightened out, corrected. You know, there's several things that could be, you know, as the program, as you go deeper into it, that could be utilized.
Yeah, I agree. I didn't think about that one, like the reporting one. I think that'd be a good one to have. Okay, so the last.
I was also thinking that a lot of companies kind of have like this, like the poster that goes up of like this many days since injuries. I mean, they say it's something about like a newsletter.
Like the doohickey assignment
Yeah.
or the blackboard.
You know, another thing that would be very beneficial is not just at the worker level, but if these safety records or measures or reporting were made part of the management performance reviews of equal importance to things like productivity and profit, because until safety is as important as those things, it's not going to get translated downstream, because if profit is more important than safety, safety will be sacrificed if productivity in any measure can be increased.
Yeah.
That was actually the last question I was going to say. Like, how would you help change the attitudes about safety? And I think you're right. I think it starts from the top, and you know, if they know you're serious about it, then they should start getting serious about it too.
Okay, I have a story. company I used to work for, big company, had a series of things that they called vital values, and every quarter when it came time to bonus time, their vital values, which were things like customer satisfaction and taking care of, you know, all very customer oriented, all that initiative went out the window the last 3 or 4 weeks before any time financial figures were coming up, because they were not part of the bonus structure of the managers. Those things didn't matter. So it didn't matter if you reached out to customers and they reported you did really well, you did a good, safe job. That didn't matter. It was only, did the company make money? So what's the message that they were sending? It's that safety and vital values really aren't that important. And it showed.
All right. Well, that is all that we have for session tonight. Made it through this monster of an article.
Yes.
Okay, do we need to talk about doohickeys at all?
Yes.
Yes, we need information written.
Okay, Olivia, I don't know if you noticed, but I didn't notice that you put your initials on this one, and so I started writing it, and then when I went to put it on, like part of it on there, I was like, oh no.
No, I can switch. That's totally fine. You can stick with that one.
Are you sure? Because you can just use it if you want, or?
No, you already started. It's fine. I can switch it.
Oh, thank you.
No problem.
I'm almost done.
Yeah. Actually, I'm going to take that one now. So go for it. I'll do the other one.
Oh, thank you.
Anytime.
And I still need to get the conclusion.
It's kind of hard to write that, Marcus, until everybody's written their things, because it's kind of like you just go over what everybody picked and said, you know, so.
So I'm going to be gone Saturday morning, but I can work on this Friday and Saturday evening. When do we need to get it all ready for Sarah to put it into a document?
I think preferably Saturday night, right? So, I mean, Saturday I don't want you to have to work on Sunday, but.
Yeah, I'll start putting stuff together. We're done. We're close to being done. So I can start with some of it. Things come in, I'll keep working on it.
Let us know if you need help, Marcus. Like, we could do it for you if you run out of time.
Oh, well, I'll do my job.
Oh, no, I know. But just if you're busy that day or whatever, just let us know. You're on it.
Yeah.
Marcus is on it. There we go on there. He's got all his parts on there.
Every time I get on, I'm like, they're probably waiting for me. I'm probably the one they're waiting for. It's just my mentality that I'm probably the bottleneck in this system. Like, oh, maybe I'm not. Okay, I'm doing all right. I'm not getting kicked out yet.
No.
Yeah. I can have my solutions done by tomorrow night. So that way on Saturday everything can be done.
So I am childless this weekend, so I am pretty flexible with my time. He's at my sister's, so it's a good weekend for this. So whenever you guys are done, just let me know and I'll finish it up. I'm going to have it done by Sunday night. I emailed it out. But
Perfect.
That's pretty exciting. You have free time, and what do? Homework.
But it's nice to do it uninterrupted.
Wow.
And I like how we did it this week or this time. I like how we kind of did it as we went along and wrote our solutions down as we went along while the reading was fresh. So I see we keep doing that for the next one.
I agree.
No, last minute. All last minute.
Keep it exciting.
Keep us on our toes.
Did we come up with solutions for everything for the third problem?
yeah.
I added a few, and so somebody just needs to pick one or make up another one. Mine says number 5, but like it's just because it was an extra. So
I'm more than happy to continue writing more paragraphs of baloney.
oh yeah, I was gonna say, Scott, you can be done because you pretty much wrote all the
The
solutions.
first section.
Yeah. You did 3, so you did your job.
Yeah, you did all.
Actually, I did the 4th one too.
Oh, you can keep going.
I can.
You can just write the whole thing.
We don't mind.
That's
But
fine.
they'll give us Fs on our review.
Who?
Well, if you write the 20, I can help put some like sugar on it, make it pretty.
Brother Bonnie doesn't know how we're putting this together. He only knows what we tell him.
He knows
does
now
right
if he watches this.
I'm turning
Well,
this off.